All right, Chris, we weren't anticipating making one of these today, but when you trade up into the first round, you get a special podcast. For those who don't know, you might be waking up to the news because you thought, I'm going to go to bed early tonight. Carolina Panthers aren't picking.
They'll just be in the second round.
They moved up from pick 33 to 32 with the Buffalo Bills, who have moved down from 28 to 32 or the previous trade, and they get their guys. Xavier Legette, the wide receiver, Chris. I'm not going to lie. I dig it. I'm for it. Your guy was there. You went up and you win it. You went up there and you got him.
I absolutely love it, man. I can't wait to talk about this.
Well, okay, and the details of the trade. The Panthers went from pick 33 up to pick 32. They also gave up a 5th-round pick this year, but they also got a 6th-round pick in return. So the total number of picks that the Panthers have this year doesn't change. It doesn't change. So you swapped 5th and 6th, and you moved up one spot. That's it. That's all it was. That's the reason why I like it. That's really the reason why I like it.
I am 100% with you. It was one of those things where you come into this draft without a first. You come into this draft without a 6th. You have 2 5ths. You have 2 seconds. And so you essentially just kind of spread those things out.
Yeah.
And end up now you'll pick in every round, but you don't lose a pick. That's one of the reasons why I like it. Another reason why I like this is because it shows just how smart Dan Morgan is and what he's thinking about and what he's considering. Here's something I was thinking about. So I was driving home from work, right, as this was happening. I literally connect my YouTube TV to my Bluetooth. I'm not looking. I'm just listening, hearing what's happening, hearing what they're saying on ESPN and all that good stuff. And I happened to look down at my phone after the last pick. And then all of a sudden I said, wait a minute, why's the Panthers logo in the back? They hadn't announced it on television yet. And so I go look at my other phone and I see that the Panthers, I get, Twitter updates on my work phone. Panthers traded up into the first round. Wait a second. I was heated at first. I was like, don't tell me you got rid of a pick.
Yeah.
So I had to wait till I got to a stoplight to look and see what happened. But then I start thinking about just kind of like the order of kind of how things ended up happening today. The Buffalo Bills initially had the 28th pick.
Yeah.
And then the Kansas City Chiefs had 32. They moved up to 28. So the Chiefs did to switch with Buffalo so they could get Xavier Worthy.
Wide receiver from Texas.
And then, you have the Bills go back down to 32. And now Dan Morgan, who's familiar with the Bills, who worked with Brandon Beane, who understands what they may be looking for, who knows they lost Stephon Diggs, who saw all the different wide receivers come off the board, said, okay, let me call up my homeboy and see what's going to go on really quick. Because I don't want to lose out on my guy. We have already said that this is our guy. We've already spotlighted him and said, this is what we want. So let me just call him up really quick. What can we work out? I don't want to lose a pick. All right, let's do this. Bet. We got it. It's the maneuvering. Dan Morgan this offseason what he's done in free agency, the maneuvering right here, just watching the board, understanding what Buffalo may do because he's been there and he's worked with that guy. And how do 2 teams trick Buffalo off their spot? You need a wide receiver, homie.
Exactly. Well, they might be like, well, we can accumulate a bunch, but much more picks and still get a really good wide receiver because there's still quite a few of them left right there for Buffalo to take. But nonetheless,
they didn't necessarily add a pick themselves. It was just 2 pick swaps.
Yeah, well, I guess you're moving up the board, I guess, in theory, is really what you're doing. You're moving up the board and maybe still getting the guy that you want, depending on who they wanted. But nonetheless, for Carolina, I was actually thinking when Buffalo made their move, I was like, man, there's a lot of really good defensive players that have fallen. I was like, Cooper DeJean from Iowa. I was like, never thought he would fall to the second round. Kool-Aid McKinstry, the cornerback from Alabama, falling into the second round. I was thinking, hey, pick 33. They might go with a defensive player, and then they can, you never know, Legette may still be there at 39, or at least, Lat McConkey, one of these guys is still going to be there. Like, they might be able to get a top defensive player. Now I'm looking at the board and looking at who's left. I was like, well, crap, they can get one of these really good defensive players at 39, Chris. That's what I'm thinking. I was like, wait, this actually might fall perfectly into what the Carolina Panthers are looking for. Things might work out perfectly.
Yeah, and pick 39, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. It's only the 7th pick of the 2nd round,
Yeah.
right? So, like, you're talking about, like, now you have an opportunity to still get a really good player who, if you're picking 7th pick in the 2nd round,
Mm-hmm.
that's still somebody who is a fringe first rounder. And we talked about all of the offensive players that were taken. I don't know the final count off the top of my head right now because, again, I was driving.
A lot.
But six quarterbacks taken in the 1st round,
7 wide receivers, bunch of
7.
offensive tackles.
It was
Throw in
mostly
Brock
offense.
Bowers. Yeah.
Mostly offense. You can get a top defensive player, and you named off a few that could potentially fall right now. And man, like, the Panthers are in good shape. And I didn't think I was going to be excited on Thursday night. Well, now it's Friday morning that we're recording this. But good job for Dan Morgan being alert and, going after his guy, but still, like, keeping the Panthers in play with all of their 7 picks.
I love it. I'm
Beautiful
loving
job.
it. I love it. It's just
Beautiful job.
outstanding. And again, the fact that this isn't what we saw last year with DJ Johnson, where it's, hey, let's use 2 picks to move up to get 1 guy.
Yes.
That was a wasted pick. This isn't, let's give a future pick along with the current pick to move up to draft Matt Corral. This isn't that move. This was, I'm still going to keep my same total number of picks, but I'm going to move up 1 spot to get my guy, and I don't lose that, again, that total number. They still got 7, and they got into the 1st round.
And you know what?
Well done. Well done,
It's
Dan
one of those
Morgan.
things where I felt like Scott Fitterer, he got Panthers fans excited because, we didn't really have, like, with Gettleman and with Marty Herney, like, those guys weren't like big trade guys.
Mhm.
They weren't gonna, like, move up and down the board. And so it was kind of, sometimes, like, the Panthers drafts were kind of boring from the sense that there wasn't a lot of extra excitement. They came in with the picks they had. Maybe they'd move down to get a couple, but it wasn't like anything crazy. Scott Fitterer came in and was like, I'm going to be in on every deal. And the movement was exciting. And it was like, oh, snap, what is he doing? And, you put out the meme with the little blue eyes and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he wasn't doing anything. It's almost like that guy who's on the basketball court who can, like, do all the great, handles and everything, but he's not really doing anything. He's not scoring. He's going to end up turning the ball over because
Can't
he's
make
just
a layup.
he's dribbling too much.
Yeah.
That's perfect. He's dribbling all that way. He's got the Kyrie handles, but he ain't got the Kyrie layup package.
He can't lay
He's
up.
going to miss the layup.
Exactly.
That was Scott Fitterer. While my man, Dan Morgan, says, no, I only need a bink, 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 and I'm past you. Boom, lay in. That's all I need. I ain't got to sit here and dance on you. I'm going to pop, 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 get to my move, get to my spot. I'm going to make the shot, and we're going to come back on defense.
Just a lot of Rip Hamilton mid-range, baby, just sinking them. That's what it is.
Bro,
it's
like,
what it is.
Dan Morgan might already be my favorite Panthers GM.
Hey, there you go.
Hasn't started. The season hasn't started.
All right, well, that's a quick instant reaction from Chris and I. I know it's late, guys. We're already into Friday, but leave your thoughts in the comments down below. You like it? You love it? Who do you want to see them taking at pick 39? Let us know. We're going to have a recap at the end of the draft, just kind of going over all the selections that the Carolina Panthers have made. But nonetheless, they got into the pick 32, got into the 1st round, Chris. I'm not going to lie, I love it.
I've enjoyed this quickie with you. Hope you have a good night.
Hey, always here for a quick one with you, Chris. The rest of y'all, we'll see you next time.